Hi everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I got a microphone because I realized in my last video my speakers from my laptop blew out like every other sentence, and it was really cringy and really embarrassing because it sounded like I was yelling when I really wasn't. It was just my speakers blowing out on me. But anyways, today we are going to be talking about the next book that I read. It was not King of Scars. It was not. I am still in the romance genre. I'm on a roll with the romance, and the next book I did in fact read is a goodie. It's a good one. It is Get a Life, Chloe Brown. I read this as an ebook as well, so that's why I have a picture of it on my iPad. It was so cute. It was really cute. Personally, I feel like with the way Talia Hilbert writes, I have read one other Talia Hilbert book. It was Act Your Age, Eve Brown, and that book made my heart, ooh, so cute. So I was like, that's the third book in the series, Act Your Age, Eve Brown. I have to read the first one. Like, I have to go through the whole series. Like, why did I read the last one first? So I decided to pick up Get a Life, Chloe Brown, and it was good. It was good. But what I was saying before is that the way Talia Hilbert writes is it feels a little distant, a little standoffish, and I do have to say that I did like Act Your Age, Eve Brown better because I felt like it was so much more funny and sarcastic. There are times in Act Your Age, Eve Brown that I laughed out loud, and the characters are so bold in that book. This one, it wasn't as funny, but it was as cute. And I do have to say that the tension is like 10 times more palpable in this one. So basically what this book is about a girl named Chloe Brown. Her family is very wealthy. And the book starts off by her almost getting hit by a car and dying. Like, she's like, holy shit, her life flashed before her eyes. And when that happened, she was like, my life was boring as hell. What the hell? So she just thought that like near-death experience made Chloe think, okay, my life is pretty boring. I need to, spice it up and like get a life. So she writes this list called Getting a Life or Get a Life, aka the name of the book. And then one of the things on her list, I believe, is that she wants to move out of her family home. And so she gets her own apartment in this complex. And the love interest, the heroine or whatever, I don't know, the love interest, his name is Redford Morgan, I believe his last name is. And he is the superintendent in the building. So it is a landlord client type of romance. Also, I'm wearing my robe, and I feel like this robe really reminds me of Chloe because I don't know, they describe the things that she wears, and it's like very polka dotty, and there's like a lot of button, and it's like really cute and all of that. And I was like, okay, I feel like I can be Chloe in that way too. So yeah, that is basically the love story between Redford Morgan and Chloe Brown. And the things I really liked about this book, one, is the representation. I really like the idea that, I have been reading so many books that are just white couples, and it's great. I love a good book. It does not matter to me, the ethnicity, the race, whatever, of who I'm reading about, but it's just such a big breath of fresh air when I'm reading characters, okay, so first of all, Red, he is a ginger. And I feel like, I don't know if it's just me, but gingers get such a bad rap. And they get bullied. And, like, there's so many things that, like, for some reason, people with red hair get made fun of. And I'm like, no. They are sexy, okay? And I love that they point out how sexy Red is. And, like, making a thing that probably makes redhead people feel insecure, making it beautiful. Also with Chloe, she is a little bit on the thicker side, and I love that they kind of like point that out and they make it like, for example, Red, he like in his internal monologue, he says like, "Oh, I love her round belly," and things like that, and it just makes me feel so much like emotion and cuteness inside that they're taking these things that, you know, socially, like in society, whatever, people don't see as like, oh, it's like beautiful, you know, to have like a round belly or like be on the thicker side or like whatever, you know, and they're turning it into something beautiful and seeing it as beautiful because it is, and I really really like that. Also, the representation with like the biracial couple, because Red is white because he's a redhead, you know, pale skin and stuff, and Chloe is black. And I really like how they showed that. Also the representation when it comes to like chronic pain, because Chloe, a really really big thing in this book is that she has fibromyalgia. It's really hard to like move a lot of the time. She gets really tired, and I feel like this book really shows how like kind of how grateful I am to have just such a mobile body, you know, and how like sometimes for Chloe her body doesn't work for her, and the things that Red does to like help her is so thoughtful and so sweet because of her fibromyalgia, and it's just so cute. I gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars. I love that every single one of Talia Hilbert's so far, her book so far, has that sarcastic sense of humor, and all of the characters are in such denial, especially in the beginning. Like they'll say something about the other person, like, "Oh, I don't like him." And in my head, I'm reading it and I'm like, "Sure, you keep telling yourself that. You keep telling yourself that you don't like him. I know that you freaking really like him, you know?" The sexual tension in the first third, oh my goodness, I was having butterflies. He was, Red, I think he was like in Chloe's apartment for a little bit, and he doesn't see any part of her skin, like any part of her body. He can only see her calves, like not even like, it's just like a little bit of her leg, and he's like, "Ooh," and he's turned on by a little bit of ankle. I'm like, sir, you're literally turned on by some ankle. Like, okay, like sexual tension. And that is my favorite thing in books. Actually, I have a lot of favorite things in books, but I really like when the sexual tension is palpable. The thing that people might find as a little turnoff in this book, because I know a lot of people don't like when there's a lot of pop culture references in books. This one has a lot of pop culture references. I forget, like I should have labeled it in the book, but they talk about a lot of like, for example, Instagram. They talk about Instagram a lot. They talk about certain websites, certain types of songs. Like, they talk about how Eve, which is like the sister, likes to sing and the songs that they would sing and stuff like that. So it's like very... there's a lot of pop culture references, so you don't know what they're talking about, then I feel like you would get confused, you know, if like you don't know certain songs and stuff like that. So that is kind of a downside in this book. Also, the reason why I loved all of the little nuances that they talked about this book, how Red, he's gone through mental and physical abuse by his ex-girlfriend, and how both Red and Chloe kind of find it hard to trust other people because of their past experiences. Like, for example, Chloe, because of her fibromyalgia, she developed it when she was in her 20s, and she's like around 30 now. And because of that, she kind of like lost all of her friends because her friends were dicks. And once the going got tough and, you know, Chloe had some physical problems, they left her, and so did her ex-boyfriend. And so she finds it really hard to trust other people because in her head, people always leave. And that's why it's really hard for her to, quote unquote, get a life, you know, because she's just like scared. But Red sees her as like the bravest person ever. It's really, really cute. But also with Red, he is an artist, and his ex-girlfriend mentally abused him, talked down on him because his ex-girlfriend was like this rich girl, and like basically belittled him throughout their entire relationship, and it's really hard for him to trust someone, especially someone like Chloe, who is also, sorry, there's like helicopters, who's also of like a wealthier social class than him. And so they just both find it really hard to trust each other, and that's when it kind of comes to a head in the third act conflict. And it really, for me, that's the reason why I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, because that third act conflict kind of came out of nowhere, because throughout their internal monologues with Chloe and with Red, they kept bringing up how like they're working on like, for example, Red keeps repeating over and over again, Chloe is not Pippa. Pippa, his ex-girlfriend. Chloe is not Pippa. Chloe would not do this to me. Chloe would not belittle me. Chloe, you know, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. He says this over and over again in the novel. So you think, oh, okay, he's like moving past it. Like he understands that like Chloe's a whole different person than Pippa, and that Chloe would never intentionally hurt Red. But then, as you see this progression in his character, it just kind of like, whoa, like out of nowhere, this third act conflict comes up where his trigger comes back and his insecurity comes back, and he overhears this conversation with Chloe and her sisters, talking about how Red is part of her list. And then Red sees that as like, oh, so I'm just another check mark off your list, like I'm not important to you and stuff like that. And I was just kind of like, whoa, Red, where's this coming from? This is coming out of nowhere. Like, it just really, like, bam. Like, the conflict really just felt like they put it there just to put it there, even though it really did hurt my heart to see both of them in pain and, like, longing for each other, and it was so sad. But, yeah, I was just like, where did this come from? Like, it felt like the author, Talia Hilbert, really just needed... like, oh shoot, like this couple's perfect for each other, but I need to put a conflict in here, or else, you know, how are we going to end the story? And so she just kind of inserted that in there, and that's what I felt like. Also, when I was looking up this book cover, I just saw this fan art, and oh my god, it is so good. It's so cute. Oh my god, they're so hot. They're so hot. Look at this fan art. Who did this? This is so good. I'm gonna show. Oh my god, look at that. That is so good. And I love how both of them are just so attracted to each other. Woo! I'm attracted to them too. Let's be real. They are so cute. Oh my goodness. They are perfect for each other. They're going to stay together forever. And I love when books do that for each other. And also, it ended the novel with great communication on both of their parts. 4 out of 5 stars. It was good. And I'm really, really happy that I'm back to reading good romance novels. I am a little scared to read Take a Hit, Danny Brown, which is the second book of the series, because I think out of all 3, from what I can like listen to, like when other people talk about the series, no one talks about Danny Brown as much as they do Eve and Chloe. So I feel like, oh, maybe that story is not as good, but like we'll see about that. I love the representation overall. I love the representation. I love the series topics they talk about. I love this couple. I love the sexual tension, the way that they like are just meant for each other, and the things that they say to each other are so cute. And last but not least, Redford Morgan, sir, he is a dirty talker. He is a dirty talker. I was like, this man. It's like a grumpy sunshine, but it's like a reverse grumpy sunshine, because Red is like the sunshine, the man. He's like super sunshiny, and Chloe is the grump. And then hearing him be like this like sunshine person, and then him saying things to Chloe like, oh, I like it when you beg. I'm like, sir, what are you saying? Anyways, sorry, I kind of went on a little rant right there, but it was so cute. I recommend you reading this. The one thing I have been reading a lot of first person POV books, and when I read romances, I like it to be in first person POV because the third person kind of makes it feel a little bit more distant, and that's the reason I think for this book why I felt a little more distanced. But other than that, you get used to the third person POV, and I read a lot of third person POV romances as well. It's just like something about this one, it felt a little too like formal, a little too distant, to be like internal thoughts, how you read romances. But I recommend it. 4 out of 5. If you've read it, please comment below what you thought about it, and if you haven't read it, pick it up, read it. It's really freaking cute. Okay? And I love that, like, it's making things that people might feel insecure about, it makes them out to be beautiful, because they are. And I'm really I'm sick and tired of reading books where both of the characters, like the couple, are just like Instagram models. They're like so beautiful. And it makes me feel insecure reading books where they're pictured to be Instagram models, basically, because then I just think, ugh, I can never have a love story like this. This book doesn't make me feel that way. This book makes me feel like I could be loved just as hard as those Instagram model couples. And I love that. So, yes, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.